Hello, thank you for joining in. Today we are going to discuss on something which is very close to my heart, which is obviously Stack Overflow. As I discussed in the first video, Stack Overflow has been a very important part of my life and most of my R knowledge comes from Stack Overflow itself. I would say 70 to 80% of it. It's a very useful resource and it helps a lot of people every day. But there have been certain allegations about Stack Overflow, like Stack Overflow is very rude, mean to users, especially the new users who ask questions on Stack Overflow. So today we are going to discuss how to ask questions on Stack Overflow, and I'll give you a brief overview of Stack Overflow, how it works, and what are the rules which we need to follow so that we don't get downvoted or the question is closed. Why do you think Stack Overflow is important? Before we start this discussion, we all have to agree on one point that Stack Overflow has been very helpful to all of us. It is being served to millions of developers worldwide on daily basis. It has been important to all of us at some point of the time, right? It has got rich user base. It has got so many developers and maintainers who interact and answer questions of users on one-on-one basis. So think for a minute why Stack Overflow has been so successful till now. There are so many forums and platforms out there, but only Stack Overflow has got such a rich user base. Why is this so? One basic reason which I could think of is Stack Overflow has policy of no rubbish or garbage or something which is not useful for any user. They don't keep it there. They have strict guidelines, strict rules about how questions should be asked, how answers should be answered, and so on. And because of this strict guidelines, Stack Overflow has become so successful. And as a user, we should follow this so that it remains helpful to all of us and it will also serve the future generation. There are so many moderators who are investing their precious time daily to keep this site clean and effective. Anything which doesn't answer a particular question, it it gets deleted. Stack Overflow even does not encourage people posting comments like thanks or plus one or great, something like that. So anything which is not useful, Stack Overflow tries to delete it so that people get only relevant information and the time is saved. Now, to keep it effective, it is expected that people who are asking the questions or answering also follow this. So they do not ask questions which do not follow their guidelines. So let's see who are the problems first. Who are the people who are not asking questions properly on Stack Overflow? The first group of people who I could think of is students who are in colleges who are trying to solve their assignments and homework. They just copy the entire assignment and paste it on Stack Overflow. They have heard about this magic land called Stack Overflow where you get answers magically. So they think whatever rubbish or garbage you post as it is, you'll get an answer for that. But that's not true, right? You need to follow the Stack Overflow standards to get an answer. You can't just paste your assignment and expect to get an answer. The other kind of user base who do not follow Stack Overflow guidelines is some professionals who have got a strict deadline to solve a problem, but they do not know how to solve it. So they just give some random bits and pieces of information and expect Stack Overflow to answer it. But most of the time that doesn't work. So when will you get an answer on Stack Overflow? Stack Overflow believes that you should ask only specific problems. You should not ask random questions with no context whatsoever. One question should solve a specific problem and only one specific problem, not multiple problems as well. If you have multiple problems, it is expected that you ask different question for another problem. When will you not get an answer? Another wording for this would be when your question would be closed on Stack Overflow. Let's see the closing reasons on Stack Overflow. So we'll get an idea in which scenarios the question would get closed. So let's consider this question, right? So if we try to close this, it gives us different options. The first option is it a duplicate of another question which has already been asked? It asks us for a link of that post. So if it's already been asked, then it will be marked as duplicate and it will be closed. So the goal is to keep similar answers at one place so that everybody gets all the answers, all different type of answers at one place itself. So if a question has already been asked, then it would be closed as a duplicate. Then apart from that, the closing reason which we have is off topic. When can it be a off topic? Hardware or software kind of question, which is not related about programming actually. It's about tools, like for example, your machine, your computer getting hanged, or something like that, which is related to hardware. So those kind of questions could get closed. And similarly, like for example, networking related, if question is asking kind of book or tool. So for example, it says I want to edit a video, which tool should I use? So in that case, this section is used and it will be closed. So another option is asking debugging help. So for example, it says I want to solve a particular problem and I have this list of steps already. Now I don't know why I am getting a wrong output. Can you help check me that? So in that case, it would be closed. On Stack Overflow, people are not going to help you debug your problems. So some users paste 100 line of code and ask people on Stack Overflow to debug it for them. Why is it not working? So in those cases, the question would be closed. If it is not asking a specific kind of problem, it would be closed. Another reason to closure is when it cannot be reproduced or a simple typographical error. So this happens a lot. People post a question on Stack Overflow and then they realize they have just missed a comma or semicolon, something like that. Very simple. So in that case, it is closed as a typographical error or something which that cannot be reproduced. So it is not working on my system. Let me post a question on Stack Overflow, but you have to take care that if it's not working on your system, how can you post a question which the users who are reading your question will be able to reproduce? So if it's not working on your system but it's working on my system, then that would be closed as non-reproducible problem. If the question belongs to another Stack Exchange network, so this happens a lot with R. Many statisticians use R, and there are a lot of questions in R which are based on statistics and not on programming specifically. Stack Overflow is one website of Stack Exchange network. So Stack Exchange has got a lot of websites. So there is a different website for stats specifically. So if a question belongs to statistics, then it should go to that website and it should not remain on Stack Overflow. So in that case, your question would be migrated to stats. Apart from that, there are other reasons is when people think it's unclear what you're asking. So many a times it happens that the question is clear in your head, you go ahead and post it on Stack Overflow, but it's not clear to the people who are reading it. So in that case, you should be able to clarify what your exact problem is, and if you do not get what you're saying, it can be closed as unclear problem. And another example to close this is if the question is too broad. So for example, if you say, can you write me an application which does A, B, C, D, E, then in that case, it would be closed. As said earlier, it should solve only a specific problem, and if there are multiple things which you need to get solved, then you should ask a separate question. So if the question is too broad, then in that case it is closed. And the final reason is if it's opinion based. So for example, if you ask a question like what is better, Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure, so in that case it is basically one's opinion, right? It has got pros and cons. So if it's opinion based, if it doesn't have a specific answer, then it can be closed. Right? So these are the reasons in which you will not get an answer on Stack Overflow. And the question, if you ask, belongs to one of these categories, then it would be closed. How to ask questions on Stack Overflow then? So they have a basic guideline If you Google just MCVE, you'll get this link which tells us how to ask question on Stack Overflow, and it says that this is a general guideline irrespective of the language which you use. So it says that the question should be minimal. So for example, if you are having a problem with HTML or CSS, and if your application has 10 pages, but your problem is only related to one page, so it is not expected that you print all the 10 pages, you post all the 10 pages. Only the one page where you have an issue, you should post only that page and only the relevant section of that page. Even in R, there are various instances where you have data of 100k rows. But when you are posting a question on Stack Overflow, don't post all the 100k rows. It's very inefficient way to share information. See how you can reduce it to just 10 rows or 15 rows, the way in which you could explain your problem and share it. The second point is the question should be complete. Give all the parts which are required. So it is important that the question is minimal, but at the same time, it should be complete as well. Right? You should not give incomplete information. If in certain cases, if portion A, B, C of your question is required to reproduce your problem, you should give it. So it's not like I just want my question to be minimal, so I'll post only A part. Then it will not help anybody. The question should also be verifiable. So you should make sure when you are making a minimal and complete problem, you should make sure that your question is reproducible at other end as well. So people who are trying to help you, they should able to reproduce it. So making it minimal and complete is important, but equally important it is to make it verifiable that the problem actually exists. So in order to reduce the length of the question, you just can't give an incomplete question, right? Now, specifically for R, there are certain cases when you generate random numbers, right? Just to let's check, for example, this. If you do this, it generates random numbers, right? Every time if you run this, it gives different numbers. Now, if you're doing something like this to post question, then you should make sure that you use set.seed. So what this does is give any random number here, 12, let's say. So if you set this and you do this, it will generate some random numbers. Next time if you do this and again this, it will generate the same random numbers. So if you check here, previously when we ran the function, it generated different set of numbers. Every time it generated a different set of numbers. But when you do set.seed, it will generate the same set of numbers here and here again. So if you use set.seed, then it helps to generate same set of numbers on your end as well as the people who are trying to reproduce your problem. So there is no confusion like what is the output which you expect. And in general, you should follow, when asking a question on Stack Overflow, you should follow a specific pattern that you show what is your input, then show what is your expected output. It's not just that, you should also show that you have done something, you have tried something which did not work. Use that as well to show that what you have tried and why it did not work in your case and why you need help on this. So for example, when I give examples of students, there are certain students who are too lazy to even copy paste. They just click a photo of their assignment and post it on Stack Overflow and expect people to read their assignment and then answer. So that's not how it works, right? Those kind of questions would be closed. So before we actually wind up, I just want to give one example. What is a good question? How a good question should be asked? So I like this question very much. Actually, I have quoted this as well. So if you see, the asker says that this is the data frame which I have. It shows like this, and I want to do these things. I want to group by ref, I want to mutate a column. I want to do, like, he has listed it one by one what he wants to do. And after doing that, he expects the output to be this. And he has also given that what he has tried and did not work. He also said that I tried this, but it did not work. So this is a very good example how a question should be asked. So when I'm trying to answer this, I'll just copy this part and paste it in my R console. I'll directly have this data frame here. So it is very essential that you help the people who are trying to help you. So save their time and they'll save your time by answering quickly. Even I had asked one question actually, which I think was a good question. This one. So I had posted, even I needed this for a very big data frame, and the data which I was trying to solve was very complicated than this, but I tried to make the problem minimal and tried to solve it. So basically this is what I have. Okay, this is my expected output, and I have tried this, but it doesn't work and it gives me this output. So how can I solve? How can I get it? So it received a lot of answers. It got 9 answers, which is too many. And this is one of the other example how you can ask a question on Stack Overflow. So basically, you make the life of the people who are trying to help you easier, and they will help you by answering it quicker and give you better solution. Okay. One another thing which I want to mention, the reason why a problem should be complete is because sometimes, okay, you ask a question and you realize, okay, I made the problem as minimal, but now when I'm trying to apply it on my actual problem, actual data frame, it doesn't work. There are some issues. So that's the reason why your problem should be complete and verifiable, so that when you are applying it to your original problem, it does not create issues. Then there are people who extend the questions in comments. Okay, thank you for solving this, but I have another problem. So this kind of comments are frowned upon and it is not advised to do. So when you are posting a question, make sure that the question which you're posting covers all the scenarios in your case, and it will help you to solve the problem. Sometimes you require experience to get to post an exact correct question, but you will get that slowly as you keep on interacting with the site and as you keep using it. So it's okay if you can't get it right in the first go itself. So this was a basic introduction to Stack Overflow. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope we get good questions on Stack Overflow. Let's keep it as clean as possible, and so that it helps many people around the globe. And let's keep posting questions and getting answers for it. If you have any suggestions or feedback for this video, please post it in comments, and we'll see you soon. Bye.